Hello and welcome to the Blue Wave Enduro Stadium. We are here for the second round of the Supermoto. No, sorry, we're off the Supermoto Championship now. That was last season. Now we're here for the Multi-Moto Ride 6 Championship, which has multiple different motorcycles for every round. And here we're doing a bit of flat track action, sort of a bit like Speedway, but we're going the wrong way and we're on the wrong bikes. But close enough. It's going to be a really interesting and really close race today. And of course, if you're watching last round, I am Race195, aka Riley Davis, your commentator for this one. Joining me this time is two-time MotoGP Sport champion Jack Hammer. Welcome to the commentary box.
Yes, thanks for having me, and it's fun to see some different kind of actions instead of just normal road race. We've got some anti-clockwise flat track.
Yeah, I think it is going to be a really interesting one. The times are really tight on the time trial. Pretty much all 11 of these riders locking out the top 11 in the leaderboards, but may just be the only 11 two-set lap times at this track.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a very popular thing to do on time trial, which is why most people are locking out this top 11. But for me, just on my small, short experience of this, you very quickly reach a ceiling. So 25.3 was sort of my ceiling, so I'm assuming that low 25 is going to be the maximum people can extract from all the sessions today.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what we're seeing. That's what we've been seeing from our practice lobbies. Of course, you and you've been in at the front with these guys, helping them get up to speed, and 25.3 seems to be round about where everybody is. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Jake comes to line with a 25.6. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. So I don't know if how much the electronics can change things in the traction control, because I didn't play with any, and I found there is a fine line between the bike giving a load of grip and sliding. So if you're running a high some form of TCS, you might fare a bit better than none.
Yeah, for sure. That's what most people seem to be doing. Traction control one, anti-wheelie one, just to help them a little bit out the corners. It wouldn't do much of a job, but I think it's definitely something they're going to have on, for obvious reasons, off the line. It is a little bit annoying, the glitch seeing the front wheel constantly folded 24/7. It gives you less of the slide aspect, but at least you've still got the racing to a certain extent. We're watching Mason here, obviously commentator on last year's championship in the Americana World Series. Now on the bike and off the bike as he goes down to turn one. He's just done a 25.4. So yeah, look at these times, super close. Everybody within a tenth of a second. Is Ducksworth and Casper at the top of the timesheets at the moment. Ducksworth with a 25.2. So a good lap from Ducksworth. Podiumed last time out in the main race at Donington Park and looking to take the win here today. Henry Mack, Henry Mack returns, the championship leader, after taking all victories last time out, running a full Honda livery. Looks brilliant.
Full factory job. Looking like he's I don't know if Tim Guys still rides HRC and MXGP. That's what it kind of reminds me of.
Yeah. There's Ross also out there on the TM bike. He was really fast at Donington Park, but just couldn't quite stay on the bike very much. He had a lot of promising moments. Qualified second on the grid, podiumed in the sprint, and then it all went wrong for him in the main race. That main race, which was just an absolute show. And a guest here we've got today, someone I haven't mentioned yet, Sean Doby from the SDPG gang, the SDPG owner even. He is Mr. SDPG, and he's up here currently on the front row doing a good job there on the Honda. And it just looks like, well, I suppose it's the only bikes in the game. I don't think the Husqvarna has made a return from Ride 5. The three bikes of choice are Honda, KTM and TM.
I'd say there's no Kawasaki or Suzuki. Husqvarna or a gas, I don't think there's not really that much of a difference.
No, of course not.
I don't think it's I mean, you could just put Husqvarna livery on it and call it Husqvarna really. But it's good to see everybody so clean. I mean, there's not much to the track, it's just two right-handers in a straight. But I think if you can get a bit of slipstream. Luckily, a bit of slipstream against someone who's the same speed as you. That might give you the extra 10. That might be what Duckworth did. He might have just got a bit of slipstream, or he's just absolutely nailed the lap to get the point too. But you can see he's doing a lap on, a lap off kind of strategies, and two mid-low 25s, and then 2 laps in the 30s. So he's on off. This lap's coming to the end now, and he does a 25.4.
Yeah, he's skipping up there.
And how long's left?
That's it. That's unfortunate. We've got a glitch as usual. I think this usually gets fixed by doing that. Yes, it does. 4 and a half minutes left. And Casper still in second, chasing down Ducksworth for pole position. Only 0.07 of a second off the Brit, but you know, in this term of track, it's quite a distance. Well, not quite a distance, but an average gap, you'd say. But one he has to really work hard to make up.
Yeah, and something I've seen though, so there's 2 different riding styles you can go with here. You can go with the foot on the floor, as you can see Casper doing here, and then you've got the knee on the floor. So, in theory, the knee on the floor should give you more turning abilities, but with your foot on the floor, you should be sticking in that fat part of the tyre, which allows you to have a bit more grip. So, maybe those on the foot on the floor can get better exits, but those who can put the knee down will maybe have a bit more corner speed. So, that's when the racing's going to get really good, because you can have such a variety of lines which cause such great racing, and probably going to be some incidents. I'd be very surprised if we don't have an incident. At least.
Yeah, a bit of lag there, but Mason Roth goes to the top with a 24.8. That is sensational. I must say, Mason bought the game last night, and he's just flown to the top with a new lap record. That's quicker than anything we've ever seen in time trial. What a brilliant lap.
Where has that come from?
Absolutely sensational from Mason. If you've seen the SDPG races, might know he won the Ulster GP after being taken out the last corner by this Lego in the Alfie Cox. But got the win handed back to him. But yeah, what a brilliant!
He's got TCS, ABS.
He's got it all.
Electronics on the bike, so you can push the bike a bit more. Oh, and he's lost the front there. It's something very easy to do on this game, because there is a bit of a numb feel. Depends on what bike you run, but with these bikes I found such a numb feeling with the front tyre, and plus you can just tuck on acceleration. So you've got to try and not push the front too much, which might explain why some riders. It is probably just an endurance race. Just stay on the bike, and you're probably going to get on the podium.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I can't believe that 24.8. I mean, I don't think the time trials have even seen a 24 yet. Mason has hardly even seen many hours on ride 6, and he goes and smashes in a lap, almost 0.4 of a second quicker than that of Ducksworth, who was previously on pole position. Now, British one too, because there's only one non-Brit in here, with Caspar in third, doing a good job here. They quite like their flat track and motocross bikes in Estonia. Always riding on the lakes when they get frozen over.
We need a Poland region as well, so if they could in the summertime probably do some speedway in Poland.
Yeah.
When that season kicks off.
Oh, Henry Mack getting to the inside there, championship leader, getting a time penalty. I don't think he's going to improve here.
No, it doesn't look like it. He's 4 tenths off, so that could improve. No, it's 25.6. This is the problem. It's all about track position. You've got to try and get the right. It's all about timing, and unfortunately for Henry right now, he's getting a bit stuffed up here. He needs to be a couple of metres back to try and get that slipstream for this back straight here, and maybe a slingshot onto the main straight. But he's having to battle with people here, and it's not ideal. When trying to get a good, and especially when getting hit from the back there, because that's so easy to do. Just get sucked in with different lines. As it's free abreast, so we're getting some. What we can see.
Down he goes. Unfortunately, one there.
Left for like a minute maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep pausing to see, but yeah, a minute left, bang on. You're not very, very on point with the predictions today, Jack. As Ducksworth heads for another lap, he's gonna get about 2 more laps in if he gets his right into turn 1. Let's go on board with our previous pole sitter. I've gone with the wrong camera there. That's the one I wanted. As he now comes to the last corner, not much to the track. As he's 6/10 down, he's gonna get one more opportunity at pole position here.
And I don't understand why he took such a tight line. When you know you're 6/10 down, you might as well just abort the lap. He's good for us. I doubt he's going to get pole position anyway, because the gap's that big. You know, he's got to close a 4/10 gap, which over a 25-second lap is pretty much finding about 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, I know, it's
So,
incredible.
it's gonna happen.
I still can't understand how Mason found that, but it doesn't look like Ducksworth can find that time. I don't think he is going to get another lap in. No, that is the session over, and by the looks of it, Mason on pole position in his first ever Ride 6 race, and by a long shot as well. That is really impressive. On his debut, new lap record all time, and pole position. I think he might have been practicing all morning though.
Yeah. You see, he's done 20 laps, and they're all consistent mid-25s, but I don't know how consistent. I don't know how much of that 24 it was a flash in the pan, whether he's got the perfect track position, who knows, but it's a fantastic job by him.
Yeah, really, really impressive. On the TM SMX Supermotard 2024, seems to be one of the top bikes here, with that coming first, third and fourth on the front page, and then Ducksworth splitting them on the Honda. But Ducksworth, he's as I've mentioned in the previous race last week, he is really good at just getting on the bike and getting into the rhythm really quickly. He always gets good starts. He's always in the mix on the first 2 laps, and that is crucial in a race like this. As we now go into the sprint race, it's a really short one, this, only a couple laps. It's going to be like a 5-minute race, but we've got 2 main races lined up for you, both 20 laps each, which will be a really good show, and both of them worth full main race points, so it's all to play for here. This is where the big hitters in the championship seem to be losing out a bit, in Alfie and Henry, and they could have some real issues on their hands if Casper, Ducksworth and Mason score big time in these races.
Yeah, so, and you know, if you like to be the champion leader Henry, he's going to have to make, he's starting 6th, so he's in the mid pack. So I think his mission for today is just to simply stay on, try and bring as many points as possible. If you can get on the podium in all races, because I think Henry's strength is definitely on the tarmac compared to the dirt, even though he's not that far off the dirt anyway. But I think he just needs to do damage limitation here. He could walk away with 2-3 wins for all we know. But I think it's definitely possible to win, or to at least walk out as championship leader.
Alright then, here we go. It's time for the sprint race. Mason will be lining up on pole. Let's try and find him. I'm going the wrong way. I had him briefly, and we go away. There was a little bit of a hold there. That was a bit strange. But Mason with a big wheelie off the line. His teammate Ducksworth going to try and get around the outside. Look at the start from Ross on the... a big crash at turn 1. Ducksworth, both of the muck-off riders have gone down. Henry Mack is into the lead.
Gosh.
Much drama.
He needs to survive, and he's done just that now. He's got a 2/10 gap to the rider behind. He just needs to try and set a rhythm, be as consistent as possible and clear off. But I think the older riders are going to try and just attack him straight away if they can.
Yeah, look at this. Here comes Kelly for the inside at turn 1, trying to find something on the championship leader. What an awful start for the muck-off team of Ducksworth and Mason, both going down at turn 1. Maybe might have been helped off there. Hopefully they will have recordings of that and we'll be able to send it in for possible penalty checks, because we didn't get the best angle of that accident. But here is Kelly trying to get through on Henry. Now, we were just saying about how it could be difficult for the top 2 in the championship, Alfie and Henry, but here they are, 1st and 3rd already, proving us wrong. There's a lot of lag there, puts Kelly onto the grass right on the inside, and he's managed to actually make it, contact there, and he's gone down and out of the lead. That was strange. What's happened there?
Zero idea, but still we're going to have to keep an eye on as well as the penalties, because it's only a 10-lap race, but the penalties are quite easy to pick up, just like but you do cut the inside of the track, because the inside of the track does actually offer more grip, and oh my lord. Yeah,
that's Jake down, and Sean through into the lead. This is getting intense now. A lot of people bunching up, but here comes Sean on the SDPG Honda CRF 450 into the lead, with Henry Mack and Alfie behind him, the big 2 in the championship, the 2 men fighting for that main race win at Donington Park. And Henry comes storming up the inside. His penalty is literally just a little bit bigger than Sean's, and Alfie's not much smaller either, so not much to play for, but those gaps can mean big in this race, as we're already halfway through and it's a lot of work already. Ducksworth is back up to 5th, and here comes Sean up the inside looking to win on his debut. This is going to be so interesting, this last lap, because how the penalty is going to fare out. Somebody could in 4th across the line could win this race, as Sean goes up the inside, Alfie on the inside as well. Henry's out wide, but he's going to try and square it off for an exit. Sean keeping defensive. Henry's being pushed out almost into the pit wall there. Alfie's on the inside. What's that going to be between the 2 championship rivals, or so we've seen so far? Sean's ran out wide. Henry's back to the inside. It's battle between those 2 Hondas, and the KTM of Alfie trying to get involved. as Ducksurf's made his way back up into 4th, Casper 5th. I didn't see what happened to Casper off the line. I think he must have been involved in whatever crash happened between the other front row finishers. And Benny up to 6th as well, and here we go, 7 out of 10 laps to go. We said it was going to be a quick one, maybe not even 5 minutes at this rate. And Henry Mack leads, looking to continue his winning streak. And if you're Alfie at this point in time, sat 3rd, maybe just a little bit behind these two, are you waiting for the last lap, or are you getting involved?
Get involved. Well, you can't wait too long. I'd say lap 9 is going to be the latest time to attack, but for these two in front, it's all about timing. Because you might expect them to, because you see Henry's gone wide here, that gives a chance, but you can't. So when you're leading, your line might change compared to your second place. So you've got to, and if you're in 3rd, you've got to have to quickly learn what they're going to do and try and get ahead of the curve. So see this wide, so you've got to try and get into the tube of one of them and then attack maybe on the exit the first corner.
Alright then, 2 laps to go, and it is Henry Mack who leads from Sean, and closing in is Caspar and Ducksworth, who could get involved in this last lap if they are quick off the exit. Really quick off the exit was the Estonian, as he now heads to the last corner to begin the last lap. He can still win this here, but he's got a quite hefty penalty. Henry Mack goes out wide to try and get an exit, but look at this for a battle to end the sprint race. Henry Mack runs out onto the grass. This is where things can get really interesting. They're all lined up, 5 of them, all locked together in combat. Ducksworth into the back of Caspar. It looks like Henry Mack might just be running away with this. Oh, Caspar pushing Alfie Cox out the way. Oh, that's a little bit of contact there. Oh, more contact between Ducksworth and Caspar, but I don't think Henry's going to be able to be beaten as he runs it wide. He's run it way out wide. Sean's at the inside. Caspar's at the inside, I think. No, he's not. Sean's just about snatched it at the end. Oh my goodness, what a race. Sean gets the victory on the SDPG Honda on his debut ahead of Henry. Caspar does a brilliant job to recover to 3rd. Alfie dropped to 8th on that last lap, must have crashed, may have got taken out by Caspar or Ducksworth. We're not sure, we'll have to see after, but that penalty for Caspar puts him down to 4th. But a 25-1, a really impressive lap from him to set the fastest lap of the race, probably on that penultimate lap. That was much quicker than his qualifying lap, and yeah, I do think he was experiencing lag, as some riders are seeing, but that was an interesting one. And we had Sean 1st, Henry 2nd, Jay aka Ducksworth 3rd, Caspar 4th, Kelly 5th to round out the top 5. So Kelly got lucky to jump back into that top 5, but how about that to kick off tonight's racing?
Unbelievable. And we got some more, we've got even a longer race now, so hopefully if we can have a few less incidents, we could be having what, the top 8 all fighting amongst each other. But you know, I think to understand that small mistake from Henry, I think he knew that he was going to, that maybe he was going to get the attack into the final corner, so he just simply outbraked himself trying to defend the inside line, and that's what cost him the victory. But he did finish 2nd, so it's good damage limitation for him.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what we will do while we wait. Just let me change the suit really quick to something more neutral instead of biased, and we'll do just while we wait for this lobby to show up, because it's such a short track, we'll do some laps here, and so you'll get to see exactly what these riders go through. I mean, it is the most challenging circuit in the world. It is the most intense one. So many corners, of a whopping number of 2 corners. And yeah, we're just doing this while we're waiting for it to show up. I can't say I'm the best in the business here, but I set up Casper's bike pretty well to get a good final lap in there and steal a 4th place. So as you can see, nothing more than a speedway circuit, but there is a sharp technique as to how you take these corners, and that's what you don't want. A big slide out of that last corner can really ruin your drive, and as you were saying earlier, Jack, the riding styles can make a really big difference, and this one I've got here is really beneficial to exits. And as I think Ride 6 for the first time does actually have a difference in riding style. The riding styles do make a difference to the bike's performance and behaviour.
Yeah, it's what you'd expect anyway. So if you got your knee on the floor, you haven't quite got the ability to stand it up quickly. Whereas if you've got your foot on the floor, you're obviously not gonna have that edge grip, but it's more flat track style. So you compared to like a motard style, or can't remember what tarmac style on these bikes. So
Yeah, this isn't the fastest of laps from me, but there's a reason I'm on the mic and not on the bike. 26.2, which would have put me absolutely dead last. As we now wait for the lobby to start. That's a quick Neil Hodgson style lap through. It probably would have been better to go with Jack, but it was a last minute thing that I thought of to bridge the time. But while we wait just a little bit more, we'll take a look at the bike. This is most people's bike of choice. It is the bike that won the race. It's not Thomas Shayer's bike, but well, this is not the bike that won. But yeah, this is the Honda CRF 450 SMT. The bike that Sean took to victory, and just such a cool machine. 4-stroke, of course, 450cc. Got those little grips in the tyres on the rear. And this is the hard part, filling in the time. But let's talk about that race. Sean did a really good job of just staying in that battle, not going for such two crazy dives. And his penalty also wasn't too big either.
yeah, I mean, it was only Ducksworth who was the only rider, I think, in the top 5 who didn't have a penalty. So when you got that, you're roughly going to be within the same region, because corner cutting penalties you're going to be all doing roughly the same thing. So for me, it was just all about timing, and yeah, Sean just did it the right time. I do think it came down to Henry's mistake, but because of how Sean played it, I think that's what led to Henry's mistake. So it was all very well played, and it's a very impressive victory. And now he's got even more laps to try and make it a double.
Yeah, I think Henry did this. Well, tried the smart play of going for the wider line to get the exit, but went a little bit too wide, and unfortunately left it a bit too late to cut back and get the exit, which allowed Sean right at the inside. It was a big mistake, and one he'll be looking to correct. But second place, really strong for Henry despite his qualifying position, and again more points in the championship over Alfie to extend his championship lead, because the only person gaining points on him there was Sean, who didn't even score any because he wasn't around at Donington last week, which if you haven't watched that race, go back. It was an absolute show. What a brilliant battle. I think Casper is unfortunately going to be sitting out the races because of his lag there, apparently really affecting other riders. That is a real crying shame, because he showed some real promise in that sprint race and qualifying. Fastest lap with a 25.1. Shame to see the Estonian go. Now being told to join before the race starts. And this is the first main race. Yeah, unfortunately Casper has just confirmed that he will be missing out on the 2 main races, which is a crying shame. He had such good potential, and unfortunately,
I think he said the fastest lap, didn't
yeah, he did 25.1. But it's something we've seen before from Casper, lagging in MEI, which unfortunately ruined a lot of races. And we're getting a 1-lap qualifier, which would be an absolute.
If you're at the front here, you've won qualifying, I'm going to say.
Yeah, and this is what is going to make things really interesting. Look at this.
Maybe not.
Kelly's at the inside of... Oh, contact there. There's somebody down. I think that was Mason. Kelly's at the front note, ahead of Charlie.
But it depends on if like the likes of Henry or any others can get slipstream.
Mason stayed on the bike, and there's Henry, yeah, climbing his way through. I think this could be a pole position for Henry as he comes to line in the slipstream. It's going to be a 25.0 from Henry Mack. That's a strong one.
There you go. That's the benefit of slipstream. You can get that gauge. It's a couple of tenths of a second. You managed to not get into anybody's way, and pole by 6 tenths of a second.
Yeah, a lot of other people getting an interesting battle on there. Ducksworth qualifying 9th. He will not be happy about that. Mason 5th. Not too bad for him, but anything would be better than what happened at turn 1 for him. And Ducksworth in the chat reminding people that it's not all to win in turn 1. But 20 laps then here at the Blue Wave Enduro Stadium, and that's race 1 of the 2 main races. So they're going to be doing 40 laps in total in main race distance, and double points on offer because main race MotoGP points for both races. And yeah, Henry will be glad to be starting on pole position for that. He's looking to rectify his mistake. The top 2 from the sprint race starting on the front row in the reverse order. But I think we're us at race control are going to be very busy after the race deciding penalties. So don't think the results after the race are official. They will be confirmed if there's any penalties at the next round, of course. And here we go then, the main race, the first main race gets underway. 2 Hondas line us up from the front of the grid. Henry Mack is away and gets a good start. Sean is alongside on the outside as well. Look, somebody's up the inside there on the Honda. I believe that is Kelly. No, sorry, Kelly's on the KTM. It's Mason on that muck-off Honda CRF 450. He's got a brilliant start. The pole man who set a 24.8 away well into third, trying to go around the outside of Sean. Sean's gone really tight there. Kelly's shot up the inside. Mason's up the inside of both Henry and Sean. He's gone from 4th to the lead in one corner. Brilliant move by Mason as the whole grid stacked up here for 50. Oh, it's 15 laps. Clearly 15 laps is the max. Not 20, so I must have been misinformed there. So we're doing 2 15-lap races by the look of it, or maybe one 15-lapper and another 20. But here comes Ross at the inside on that Scotland liveried TM racing machine, or is that's a KTM even, I think. You can tell by the seat, but Sean moves his way. Yeah. Sean into the lead, and here comes Ross at the inside, showing his colours finally after being a little bit uncompetitive in that first race, probably just getting involved in those early accidents. Ducksworth is there in 5th as well. No, I don't think anyone's had some severe incidents yet. Everybody is still in the mix as up the inside comes Ross to lead the race. The Scot on board that TM racing machine. I think that is, yeah, it is TM racing. As following him is the 3 Hondas of Sean. Oh, the contact between the 2 teammates of Mason and Ducksworth. Interesting there as Ducksworth catches the green on the inside. It's handy because you can tell who's who, because Ducksworth's got a bright green Matt Kwasowski helmet. And here comes
Mason.
Mason.
The 2 Hondas in the front?
What's that, sorry?
The 2 Hondas are just trying to hound the TM.
Yeah. He's got a lot of Hondas behind him at this point.
Yeah.
I think it's a KTM because the TM has a bright blue seat and the KTM has a dark blue seat. It is a KTM, yeah.
Yeah. So Ross holding off the 2 Hondas. Well, here comes Henry Mack up the inside. Into the lead he goes back once again on the end of lap 5, side by side as he head towards turn 1.
Oh, a big dive there from Henry, who shoots through into the lead. Ducksworth nearly gone into the side of Ross there. Oh, Sean getting the rear slide in as he puts both muck-off riders either side of him. This is a really intense race and everybody's still in the mix here. Nobody's been lapped yet, which is good to see. Somebody went down there in the background. I think it was Mason. No, Mason's gone down. The pole man, well, previous pole man from the qualifying session, he's down to last. Nobody apart from him crashing just yet. So a really good a really good first half of the race for most of the grid for staying on the bike as Henry Mack continues to lead.
Back fairly soon as there'll be 7 laps to go at the end of this lap, and Henry up the inside as Ross goes really deep into the last corner.
Side by side here into turn 1.
Can't tell who's going to I think Henry's going to take the lead, but watch out for Ducksworth firing up the inside on that mock-off whatever bike that is, a Honda.
Yeah, it's a Honda indeed. You can tell by the red seat. That is indeed Jay, aka Ducksworth, as he looks to go for the inside on both Ross and Henry. Is just trying to nudge that blue KTM out the way, trying to get the inside into turn 1. Lap 10 of 15 then. 6 laps to go and only about 3 minutes left of this race already as Ross comes shooting up the inside. He's through on Henry. Through comes Jay as well, and Sean just biding his time there in 4th. Henry has not got a penalty. That is something to look out for. Ducksworth has apparently not got a penalty. I think that's a glitch there. It says he has, but at the same time it doesn't, as Ducksworth goes shooting through to lead in the final corner. Henry's back on the inside with the exit. The 2 Hondas going head to head now as the KTM drops to 3rd, but there it looks like they're going to both run it out wide. Ross is back up the inside. He pushes Henry out wide. Nearly contact there between Ducksworth as Henry ran out wide, thanks to being nudged out by the Scot. Ducksworth back on the inside. It's constant trading every corner as Ducksworth goes through. I can't see the fact that he didn't get a penalty there. Ducksworth's done a 24.9. That's a really strong lap, and we could see Jay get the win here today. That rhymes. as the Scotsman runs out wide on that KTM. Through comes Ducksworth again on the inside, and Sean, as I mentioned before, he's got a pretty hefty penalty, so he has to be careful. Mason struggling to make his way through the field. As here comes Ducksworth through to lead the race, maybe, no, just can't quite get through on Henry. Sean looks like he's really joined the party now. And I tell you what, Kelly's not too far off as well. Tleon is Kelly, if you did not know. As Ross comes through on both of them again. It's constant switchbacks as we're about to enter the penultimate lap of the race. A bigger penalty now for Ducksworth. 0.2, 0.1 for Ross, as Henry's just chilling with no penalty. At this rate, he could very much win this race, because everybody in this battle, in this 4-rider group, is subject to a pretty large penalty for how small the track is. 2 laps to go then, and Ross leads the way. Ducksworth's going for the inside on them both. I can imagine he got a big penalty for that one. No, somehow he didn't. He's going to get a penalty for that, surely. Yeah, he's had to let off the throttle there to lose a bit of time. Sean's finally getting involved now as he tries to go around the outside of Ducksworth. Here he comes then. What's the tactic on the last lap, Jack?
I just said that just try and get to the lead before the last corner, maybe. I think just try and be on the inside and head into the last corner, and I think you can get the victory.
It's all about Ross trying to pull out that 0.2 of a second gap. Will Ducksworth and Sean make Henry's life harder here, or will he be able to possibly win the race despite finishing 4th even if it happens? He's going to try and go for the outside. He doesn't know how big the penalty is. That might get him a penalty there as he shoves Ross out of the way. He's going to run it out wide on the exit. Ducksworth's going to be on the inside. It is going to be Henry Mack who wins the race, because he had a pretty small penalty. No, I don't know. I do think he won that, and I do believe Ducksworth came second. I think that podium is accurate. Sean unfortunately ends up 4th after that interesting race. But yeah, Henry ends up with another victory to his name. We said he was going to be struggling after that qualifying session, but now he's on the roll, and that's 2 in a row. He's yet to be defeated here in the Multi-Moto Ride 6 Championship, as Ducksworth comes home second with a brilliant new race lap record of a 24.9, and Ross comes home third for TM Racing with a 25.1.
So 24.9s, we've seen a second 24, which is unbelievable pace. I think that just shows the effect of the slipstream. But Henry Mack, he wasn't the fastest one, but he maybe the smartest one. Got pole position, walked out, and has walked out victorious and extends his championship lead even further.
Yeah, it's all the tactics. It really impressive, as we're going to need to leave the lobby again. But now we've got a little bit more to unpack while we wait for the lobby to get going again, because that was really interesting. But now we're going to have another 1-lap qualifier for the final race of the evening. It's all gone by so quick because it's quite short, that track. But,
25-second or just a little bit more lap, you get 4 laps, that's 4 laps in 100 seconds, more or less.
Yeah, really interesting race and a lot to unpack there. Sean, unfortunately, just missing out on the podium after taking victory in... no, sorry. Did Henry get the last one because of the penalty? I've completely lost it, yeah.
I can't remember.
No, I'm pretty... Yeah, Sean won the sprint, did he not? Yeah.
Yeah, Sean won the sprint, Henry was second.
So Henry is not completely undefeated. I've lost my head there. I was probably getting confused by the 2 Hondas. My apologies.
But he's extended the lead every single time.
Yes. And also, in terms of undefeated, as in nobody who is an immediate championship threat has beaten him. So the points gap just gets further and further, and he's going to have, even if he has a bad race this time out, he's going to have a pretty strong lead in the championship coming out of this one, which we'll have to find out for you, the standings, in the next round going into it, because we don't really have a live championship standing calculator, unless Casper's willing to do the math, currently watching. And here we go then, it is the final race, and first of all we're going to get the 1-lap qualifier underway, and this is a bright throw into absolute nothingness, but I dare you to predict who'll get pole in this one.
I'd go with Henry again, but you just don't know because the order's going to be completely different, and just 4 abreast as they start the lap. I think, is that Callie in front? If Callie can just do this lap clean, might get pole position. Well, here comes Duckworth on the inside. Duckworth could be getting pole now because he'll have some slipstream. But Henry, I don't know who's going to get pole here.
I
Someone
think
with
it might be
slipstream.
Ducksworth, although look at Alfie on the inside, going strong. I think it might just be Ducksworth. Let's see what the lap is. Henry quite far back and in the mix. It's a 25.3 from Ducksworth, 25.6 from Kelly, 25.7 from Jake, 25.7 from Alfie as well. Ross does a 26.1. Henry Mack is going to be starting in 5th. Okay, interesting. Ducksworth with a 24.5.3, nowhere near where they were last time out, with the two brothers on the front row, Kelly and Jake. Good laps from them on the KTM bikes. That's the first time we've seen the KTMs really up there and at it, with 3 KTMs in the top 5. And Henry Mack getting a strong 5th, Sean in 6th, Ross 7th. But let's be honest, does qualifying really matter? But it's a shame to see Mason getting so unlucky. But hopefully the fact that he's starting a bit further back might mean he won't get as involved in the early race drama this time.
Yeah, your group position doesn't really matter as long as everyone gets through turn 1. Once everyone gets through turn 1, I think everything's safe. But I think when you're starting mid-pack, that's probably just the danger zone for turn 1. Apart from that, I don't think any of the riders got anything to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, in that last race, they did manage to get all through safely, and the first rider to crash was Mason on, I think, lap 4, which was his own mistake. So we're just waiting for them to get ready now. The final race of the evening already. This one's gone quite quick, but make sure you join us next time out for some more action. So far, the Multi-Moto Ride 6 Championship never fails to disappoint, and it won't stop disappointing because we've got another show on for you right now. Race 2, the final show of the evening, gets underway, and it's a brilliant start from Ducksworth as he wheelies that CRF 450 down to turn 1. But look at Alfie Cox on the inside. A brilliant move as he takes the lead. Henry Mack, the championship leader, trying to get involved. Somebody down there in the background, I think it was Sean, getting tangled up with Mason, the king of unluckiness already, the pole man from qualifying. There's Henry Mack getting attacked around the outside by Kelly. That's not going to work as Henry Mack shoves his old rival Alfie out the way into second. He goes just about there side by side, heading down into turn 1. Ross trying to get involved. He's already got a penalty on lap 1 of 20. Yes, this is a 20 lapper. Somebody's down there in the middle. It's a KTM, and I believe it was Kelly. Not a good weekend race meeting, sorry, for Benny, who's been struggling a little bit. Mason trying to regain some time, but Ducksworth continues to lead this race. You feel like he is probably been the most consistently quick, bar Henry, throughout this whole race meeting, and it'll be a shame to see him not on the top step by the end of this.
Yeah, he's been very fast on the Muck-Off machine, but ultimately it comes down to your consistency, and maybe he's just lacked a little bit of consistency, or maybe made a few mistakes when in the battle. But he's got a chance here to break away because Henry and Ross now are starting to battle, and there's just that little bit of a gap. But if that gap's still up too big to break the slipstream, then I feel like Henry will very quickly close down Ducksworth and will be back to battle. But not if Ross continues to fight for second place, and this is all just playing into the hands of Ducksworth. Really, I think Ross should have just let Henry try and catch him, but yeah, Ducksworth now's got a bit of an advantage over these two, and he could be about to break away.
Yeah, I can't believe we're actually seeing this. He is really starting to break away because Henry and Ross going really at it here. A right old battle between the Scot and the Englishman as Alfie trying to get back into the mix of things. Mason also making a good recovery into 5th, trying to catch up to his teammate. Currently 1.7 off his teammate race leader at the moment, and yeah, Ducksworth really starting to break away. And when it gets to this gap, it is so difficult to keep focused and keep pushing on because you just can't see it coming down. And pushing on and pushing into the gravel goes Henry Mack, the championship leader, drops to 8th position in this race. And could that be victory over? I can't say it has denied him victory yet, but it's definitely not made it easy for him.
Say his fastest lap of the race. He closed a little bit on Ducksworth, but I think just that front end feeling where it just doesn't tell you where the limit is. He's just been caught out there, and it's a big mistake because he's going to be losing a hefty amount of points. You know, he was on 20, he's now on 8, so that's 12 points lost, and his rivals are going to have a net gain as well. So big mistake. It's not over yet because there's still lots of battling over, but I think it's Duckworth to lose now.
Yeah, for sure. As Charlie goes up the inside of Jake there, sorry, and runs it wide. Jake goes back through. These two going at it for 5th place as Mason's made his way up into 3rd. But I'll tell you what, Ross is making good time. He's catching up to Ducksworth. He might just be cutting a little bit though. He's got a pretty big penalty, but he's done a 25-1 on that last lap as Henry Mack is cutting his way back through the grid. Alfie's dropped down to 7th as this round gets worse for him, as we're nearly already at this halfway point in the race. Ross has got some work to do to catch Ducksworth. Let's go on board with the Scot, as now he's not really got anyone for company behind him. Mason will be hoping something happens here between these two, but he continues to cut across that grass, getting risky with a possible penalty, and these penalties mean everything for the race results. 25-1 again.
Indeed. 25-1, yeah. So he's got the slipstream now. He's just going to let that naturally. He doesn't need to push any harder than he is doing. He's just got to stay in that slipstream, make sure he's getting good exits. Stay in that slipstream, naturally close, just like a Moto3 race. You've got to naturally close in and then strike when you are in overtaking distance. But easier said than done. Ducksworth is he's got phenomenal rhythm. He's just doing like mid-low 25s every single lap. I'm a bit of a lag spike there. But Ducksworth now is just doing everything perfect, and Ross is just going to try and rely on that slipstream just to help him gain that little bit.
Yeah, exactly that. As Ross continues to try and close down a gap, it doesn't quite look like he can make it. He's really asking a lot of that TM, and you must ignore, unfortunately, the front wheel looking like it's folding every quarter. That is just the replay system on Ride 6 being awful, but it looks like that gap is staying relatively stable here on lap 12. He needs a mistake from Ducksworth, but when there's only 2 corners, it's a little bit hard to make a mistake, as Sean is looking to attack Mason for a podium. It'll be a real shame if Mason doesn't end up with a podium in this one after setting a 24.8 in qualifying, as he continues to fight back with Sean. Honda on Honda action, 1 pink and black, 1 red and white. Oh, that's got close. He's nearly caught the back wheel of Mason, and he's going to try and nerf him out of the way. He has nerfed him out of the way. Through goes Sean, and they're going to be side by side. Unfortunately, Kelly has disconnected, and it looks like Ross just keep getting a little bit closer there. As you mentioned, now in the slipstream, we're going to stick with the Scot with 7 laps to go, sorry. As they head down to turn 1, he's gone for the wider line to see if he can gain a little bit more corner speed with that further down style that you did mention before, as they both have that.
He is in overtaking range now. He's just got to play his cards right. He's just got to wait for the right moment to strike. So when they cross the line, he will be 6 laps left. So I wouldn't leave it too early, but I wouldn't leave it too late. You got to time it. I'd say about 2 or 3 to go.
And I noticed that he keeps taking the grass on the outside to help square off the corner and get a much better run through it, but he's gained a bigger penalty for it. He's got a whole 1/10 of a second more of a penalty than Ducksworth, and that is going to be a big ask to still win this race, even with the gap at this point, as it looks like Mason's unfortunately crashed battling with Sean. Henry Max up to 4th. It doesn't look like he'll be able to catch Sean. May have been contact between Sean and Mason. Ross has gone down. Ross has hit the deck trying to close the gap to Ducksworth, sorry, and it has all gone wrong for him. As Ducksworth approaches lap 17, Sean moves into 2nd place, and looks like in his debut in the Multi-Moto Ride 6 Championship, he's going to be the man taking home the most points this evening.
Unless Henry can nab 2nd right at the end here, because Henry's not too far from these two, so if these two begin to battle, Henry could profit and still walk out of a podium somehow. Yeah,
Alfie and Charlie duking out for 5th, just behind Henry, and we do know Henry is really good in these last laps if we've seen anything from the past 2 races, but he has got a really big penalty. I think that's the biggest penalty we've seen all race meeting long, as continuing to chase down Sean. Ross just can't seem to make ends meet, and down goes Henry, the championship leader. Nearly following him in there was Charlie. Henry drops all the way down to 7th behind Mason, and now things are getting interesting in the championship. This is going to be a big score for Ducksworth. He's got 3rd last time out of Donington Park. He's coming up to lap Benny, and hopefully Benny stays out of the way. 2 laps to go for the man who has literally been undisturbed from turn 1 onwards. What a brilliant performance, as long as he can continue to stay on the bike and keep it clean for only the 3 corners that he has left of this race.
He got out in front, he set his rhythm, and the other riders allowed him to set his rhythm, which was the biggest mistake. And unfortunately, those who tried to close the gap to get back onto his back wheel have paid the price and lost the front in turn 1. So Ducksworth, an absolutely classy performance. He's just got 2 corners now to bring it home.
Yeah, towards the performances we're seeing from Bulaga in Phillip Island. I mean, how much were people saying that his rhythm has to be interrupted or it's over? How many times have we seen that in general in racing as Ducksworth takes the wide line, but he takes the victory as well? What a brilliant show, a dominant show. As to the line, it is going to be Ross, because Sean should get second there because Ross had a penalty. An unfortunate race there for Ross. He'll still be happy with the podium, but I'm sure he'd be devastated not to have that win. He was really coming along strong in that second half of the race, closing in on Ducksworth, but that massive penalty, I think, has lost him second and named Sean as the big points gainer in this round. A devastating final race for Henry Mack, 7th there, with Ross doing the fastest lap this time of a 25.1. But there is your final race standings. It is Ducksworth from Sean, from Ross, from Charlie, from Alfie, Mason, Henry, Jake, Benny and his brother Kelly, who I believe disconnected from the race, and he'll unfortunately be scoring no points for that one, because if you disconnect, you from now on lose points. But yeah, what an absolutely sensational race meeting, and a brilliant one to kick off, having you with me in the commentary box, Jack, and hopefully we'll get treated to many more battles like that and like what we saw at Donington Park.
Yeah, that was a fantastic show. How many laps? 45 laps of great action, constant battling, and hopefully the rest of the season pans out that way.
Yeah, it was an absolutely brilliant show. Just how many more times can we say it? And of course, next time out, get ready for them to hit the USA, where they'll be riding the much unloved in Ride 6 baggers. And that is going to be interesting, because it's a matter of who can enjoy the game the most at that point. And then next time out after that, in 2 weeks' time, we'll be on 1000cc naked racing modifieds at the Southern 100, which will be a completely different ball game to what we've just seen today. Well, to be fair, anything else we've got on the calendar is a completely different ball game to the action we've seen today. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Jack, for joining me in the commentary box, and it's going to be a good rest of the season. We just had somebody join the call there. I think that was Ross joining the call uninvited. But yeah, he'll be disappointed not to have won that. But a good ride there from Sean, Henry and Ducksworth to take all 3 of those races. Again, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Thank you, Jack, for joining me in the commentary box. Thank you to all the riders for showing up today. And thank you for joining us once again.